First, I want to thank you, Chairman Rush, for allowing me to waive on to this joint subcommittee hearing, and I want to thank the commissioners for appearing. It is impossible to understate how important nuclear power is to the future of American energy production. It's the cleanest source that we can produce significant quantities of power around the clock, rain or shine, 365 days a year. In 2019, nuclear power was responsible for 36% of total electricity produced in my home state of Pennsylvania. It supported 4,500 jobs and accounted for 92% of carbon-free electricity in our Commonwealth. If my colleagues are serious about trying to cut down on carbon emissions, nuclear power is clearly a safe and effective solution. And yet, nuclear power plants across the country are in danger of closing. In my state, 3 Mile Island has already begun the decommissioning process, and others are close to following suit. It is imperative that the NRC provides a stable regulatory environment so that our existing fleet of plants can continue to produce safe and clean energy for Americans. My first question is for Chairman Hansen. As you witnessed and mentioned that you recently visited Limerick, Exelon is undertaking a significant digital modification project at this generation station that will set industry precedent for modernizing the existing fleet of plants. By itself, Limerick, the generating station there, has 2 nuclear reactors that produce more than 2,300 megawatts of zero emission energy, enough carbon-free electricity to power 2 million homes here in Pennsylvania. How does digital modernization contribute to plant safety? And that's a question for you, please, Chairman Hansen.
Thank you, Congressman, for that. I think it contributes in a number of ways. First of all, it can increase the reliability of plant components. It reduces the size and the number of components that need to be maintained within the plant, particularly on the auxiliary system side, so a lot of the pumps and motors and other kinds of things. It can help provide information on maintenance schedules and conditions remotely for plant staff, so that information can augment then on-site inspections and other kinds of maintenance activities that plant staff undertake. I think there's a wide range of the kinds of information, and I think we're going to learn a lot over the next few years about the kinds of information that you can get from these systems that could potentially enhance system safety and overall operational efficiency of these facilities.
Chairman Hansen, recognizing that important information, are DOE or you at NRC doing anything to incentivize nuclear power plants to make the transition to digital?
Congressman, I'll note, I think as my colleagues have, it's not our role necessarily to incentivize, but I can tell you it's a priority for me to create and for the NRC to refine and have a clear regulatory line of sight for the licensing of these technologies. Having that regulatory line of sight may create an incentive in and of itself.
Thank you for recognizing that. My next question is for Commissioner Wright. And as the relief picture, and on the heels of last night's All-Star game, Commissioner Wright, you mentioned that you're an umpire outside of the office. And in a lot of ways, your role at the NRC is to be an umpire for the nuclear power industry. As you know from your time on the Diamond, there is nothing worse than an unpredictable strike zone. Amen. What lessons are being implemented to make sure that the licensing renewal process is even more predictable and straightforward while still ensuring safety, and thus allow nuclear power to play its best game for all of the American people?
I like the analogy. Thanks. That's really good. Very good job.
Thank you.
Our job is to call the balls and strikes, but we have to do it within what our mission is, and that's the reasonable assurance. It's no more and it's no less. Although it's not defined, just like everybody's strike zone is different, it's still over the plate in that same general area. So we've got to be sure that we are doing everything that we can at every level. I mean, from the resident.
And just allow me to interrupt. So is that meaning that the licensing renewal process can be even more predictable and more straightforward?
I believe so, yes. We have to provide, regulatory certainty for whoever comes before us and a pathway to do what they need to do. If it's in the advanced reactor space, we're not going, and each of my colleagues have said it as well, it is not our desire to be an impediment to innovation or innovators.
Thank you. My time has expired and I yield.